Again? Okay. Our president, Katie Haig, is absent today, so I'm Jocelyn Bear, and I'll be guiding us today. So I'd like to call the September 12th meeting of the Fishers Arts and Culture Commission to order. And the first thing that we'd like to do is stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Hey, will you give us a roll call, please?
Well, Cecilia.
Here.
Angie. Here. Ruth.
Here.
Jocelyn.
Here.
Thank you. That's voting members. And we also have Ross.
Here.
And Laura. Here.
And we have a quorum, right, Kayla? Okay, perfect. So what we like to do is a little icebreaker to begin our meeting. This is the most stressful part of guiding our meeting today. You guys, I'm not very creative, but I did have an inspiration as I got my afternoon coffee. So our icebreaker today is please share your favorite coffee drink order. Drew, do you want to start?
Pretty simple, caramel mocha.
Sounds pretty good.
Yeah, my go-to.
Oh, sorry, straight black coffee.
Oh,
That's me. What I look forward to is my Nespresso that I have at home. It has different pods and different flavors, so honestly, I'd rather have that than go to a local coffee shop.
Good, sounds good. I'll toss in mine, of course, pumpkin spice latte because 'tis the season. Ross?
Dirty chai is like my all-time favorite. So that's the chai latte with a shot of espresso. And the best one in town is over at Schoolhouse 7.
Try that sometime.
I'm not a big coffee drinker, but I do like decaf coffee and Kahlua.
Oh.
After 5 o'clock.
After 5.
Very
After 5.
I also don't drink coffee, but I like a good hot apple cider with the whipped cream and cinnamon.
Oh, that's lovely.
And for me, it's iced vanilla latte.
That's good.
Good. Marissa, we're talking about favorite coffee.
Speaking my language. I like all coffee. I love just an Americano. And then right now I have a flat white.
Hey, sounds good.
What's a flat white? What's in that?
It's just kind of like a latte, honestly. I think it has a little bit more espresso than a latte does.
Mhm.
Yeah. So just
All
the
good.
ratio is a little different.
Okay, so we got a little insight in everyone's personality just then, so that was awesome. Thank you. So we have a consent agenda. So what we like to do is approve these two documents in one motion. So what you have in front of you are the previous meeting minutes, which was from last May, as well as the current financial report. So hopefully everyone has a copy of those or have had a chance to eyeball those. So if I may, a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
You got that? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Nope. Great. Consent agenda has been approved. Thank you. So now moving on to new business. Fishers Parks is up first. Marissa, does that?
Well, we are kind of winding down on our season, and I know it's been a while since we last met. So I just kind of peeked at some numbers from this year, and every time I write them down, it's pretty astonishing because we just are going. But we had over the course of this year, we had 20 pop-ups or small programs. We had 96 classes at Maker Playground. We had 35 dates of the farmers market, both Saturdays and Wednesdays. We added a maker component to the Wednesday markets in Saxony. And then on our Saturday mornings, we have group fitness and mindfulness classes, as well as live music. And then we have 12 concerts for those ticketed, 5 days of Spark, everyone loves Spark, and then over 20 special events and 35 park-supported events.
Ooh.
So working with other community partners. So pretty cool recap on what we've done. We have some things upcoming. We are doing the Guys Half Marathon this weekend on September 16th. We have Glow in the Park next Friday and Saturday on the 22nd and 23rd. A new event that we're doing this year is a family camp out at the Agri Park, and that sold out immediately, all our spaces. So we're excited to see how that goes and add to that for next year. We have Fall Festival October 10th through 14th, Boo Bash on October 28th, and Nickel Plate Night Lights on, which is like a reimagined Winter Wonderland event on December 2nd and 3rd. And the only other update I have is our HSC partnerships have been going really, really well. We have first, second, third, and fifth graders. So we have almost 7,000 kids in the community that come through parks at some point, multiple times. It's just almost 7,000 children come through multiple times a year. Exposure to different areas, so really cool.
Very cool. Thank you. Wow, that's an outstanding report. Any questions for Marissa? Okay, well done. Thank you. Okay, moving on, community and PR update.
So I'm standing in for Samantha. So she gave me a couple bullet points at the Arts Municipal Complex, which is directly next to us. We are still on schedule for a June 2024 opening. The community time capsule letter writing campaign that they worked on earlier this year went very well. PR got tons of letters, and the PR team is finalizing the capsule details for the new city hall. They are already in the works planning for 2024 local Shop Fishers campaign surrounding the holidays, which will start in November. And then they are prepping also for MLK Day. So PR and community engagement are beginning the planning process for that, which will include a food drive. Last year was a huge success. They hope to build off of that momentum. More details to come on that. If you have any questions, I'm happy to pass those on to.
Very good. That's a good report. Thank you for filling in there. Can you keep going?
Yeah.
Planning and zoning?
Yeah, so do you mind just hitting the next slide real quick? I wanted to make sure everyone was aware of this. If you haven't seen it yet, you might not be looking at the right side of 37, but this is one of the projects that this commission right here funded. We have Town Hall Building Corp funding that Mayor Fadness provided this commission's oversight. And as part of that, we worked together last year on creating a business matching grant. Instead of the commission fully funding our projects, we thought it would be a great opportunity to match funds with businesses. So the first one that you guys approved in that first grant cycle was with Alderman Automotive, which is on 37, and they contracted with Hugh Murals, our friend Coda Witskin. She did a great job working with Parks 2 on a grand opening unveiling of this. I still need to do the measurements, Marissa, but I think this is like our largest mural yet in the city.
Yeah, I think
So
so.
extremely vibrant colors. So
You can
picture
see
doesn't do
it
it
from
justice,
far
but
away, yeah.
It's a great, but I just wanted to commend on supporting that business matching, right? Because your funds went much further matching with the business. That was just one of the things I wanted to update you on. But I'm going to actually pass it on to Bree because we have several friends here that, including potential artists working on your next hopeful business matching grant for Cycle 4. So Bree.
Hello, I'm Bree King, a senior planner with Fishers, and we're going to discuss what's known as the Whistle Drive development. So it's going to be in Fishers District. The new project itself is a 17,000 square foot multi-tenant building, and we are proposing to place some sculptures in the rear yard. The total project cost is about $35,000, and the grant request is $17,000. Just to get familiar with the district, so I'm sure you all are, but it has a very unique and vibrant feel that is enhanced by the art that's already in the area. So these are some existing murals that you see here. And then to get you familiar with the specific project itself, here is an image on the right of an aerial of what that site looks like now. This is a sad, empty field. The blue box is where the art will be placed. So if you can see 1/16 at the top of the screen, the sculptures won't be visible from 1/16, but they are highly visible from the internal roads circulating the site. The artist took inspiration from our own state, which is always great to see. So some of the species shown, or all the species shown, are native to Indiana. So you can see our state tree, the tulip poplar, sassafras, and I believe black walnut. So sculpture goals align directly with the city's priorities and our vision for the area, as we're always looking to engage the families, have that inviting Fisher's feel. Here is an aerial site plan showing what is proposed. So the sculptures, which we'll see in greater detail in a later slide, but they sit in a green oasis in the rear of that proposed structure. The trees, shrubs, and perennial planting beds ensure natural space, which is needed in that area, and shade during the summer months. You can also see there is a path that is going to allow accessibility for everyone to enjoy the sculptures and the landscaping and shade as well. Here you can see the sculptures as they will appear in person. They activate the space, which is something we're always looking for in our open space. So it creates an area for people to relax, kids to play and climb, or to wait for their restaurants. It's just adding life in what would otherwise just be landscaping. Here is another close-up view of, you can see that people very much enjoying the sculptures. So I believe it will be a great addition to the area.
Thank you, Bree. So we have the artist here. Most of you are familiar with Rachel Cavate, so thank you for coming today. And then our friends over at RQAW, if you guys have any questions. And we just want to correct, is the grant request 17,500? Okay. So you guys authorized the business matching grant, maximum of 25,000. Their full project is 35, so they're asking you guys tonight 17,500 for this project. So we're here to answer any questions on this project. I will make one additional note. This is in a PUD, and that PUD does require them to have public art in some form. We've seen a lot of murals recently, so I think this one in particular is kind of a cool opportunity for another art sculpture by Rachel and the community. So they're here to answer any questions you guys might have.
We go back to the overall plan, like to have the building, like the full site. Just trying to make sure I orient myself.
Yeah, what are the buildings again?
So is that
on the other
Torchy's
side?
Tacos, I think is what's that, is the upper
Okay.
right? Yeah.
Gotcha.
Then the left one is like where BB Bop is located. So
Okay.
the building itself is actually taking up the vast majority of the property. See where the blue lines intersect.
But across from it is just units and parking, or is there retail directly to the west?
The retail does not go south of BB Bop.
And do we know what type of tenants are going here? I mean,
We've got, actually 33,000 square feet, the first floor is 17,000. Right now it's mostly restaurant, retail, and we have like a conference, and the second floor is gonna be family office. We felt like it'd be good to utilize the space down there for lunch or office tenants to go down, and have some outdoor space to utilize. The original plans for this building was supposed to be about 70,000 square feet. Originally wanted like a girl, 700 square feet. Well, our building was about less than half the plan. it's hard for us to fit a mural,
Mm.
on the building. We've looked at it, and thought, what directional, maybe a sculpture might be more useful there.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting concept. I'm struggling a little just with the location,
Okay.
but I don't know that there's many other options, I guess, but I could see it being activated the way the pictures show, but if it was closer to where that might take place, because at least having driven past the site, obviously it's blank right now, but it's kind of a back of house sort of feeling area that doesn't currently have pedestrian traffic, but admittedly, there's no sidewalk today either, so, maybe that would change.
The entrance is just, around the
Just
corner.
around, that's what I was trying to see, is like, how convenient will it be? Is there a stair from the second floor that dumps out close-ish to here, or no?
The whole west side of the building will be storefront too.
Okay,
It'll be busier. Actually, Curtis, you have a sushi restaurant, you go right up here,
okay,
and then there's entrance to the second floor offices, right there.
okay.
Then this is the storefront, it's also utilizing that corner, it's all glass over glass there.
Okay.
It is kind of back of house, but it will be fairly busy with traffic.
But it's fairly open with the windows, so it's not like you're
Sure,
feeling like that.
right.
I'm just curious, what's the sculpture made out of?
Concrete.
Okay.
Yeah, create a form and then pour the concrete and then actually put in the veining of leaves.
Mhm.
And it would undulate on the top so that, that it creates some dynamism. If you're a kid and you want to sort of climb on it, or an adult, you can sort of lean back with a chair where you can just sit on the like bench.
Ergonomic concrete, I like that.
Will they be solid, or will it be hollow, like
It
underneath,
would
just
be
from,
somewhat hollowed out because of the
from
weight.
weight purposes, yeah?
But yeah, they're gonna be heavy, so once we put them down, they're probably gonna stay there. Nobody will be carrying them off. We've been talking through landscaping as well, as you saw in the
Sure.
picture, because we want to create a space where, wander in, and there's maybe some perennials, and they have wildflowers, and then there's already trees in the landscape, and they'll provide shade. So, create really not just sculpture that pops down, but a whole space that invites people in.
I know one thing that this, commission also is charged with is maintenance of our public art. So what do you think the long-term maintenance is for the sculptures to make sure they stay vibrant and be them for a long time?
The concrete itself will, it's going to be extremely durable. We'll be rubbing the corners so they're all rounded on the corners, so these will prevent any chips, and then also just prevent it. I have a toddler, so if a toddler doesn't stumble off, we don't want any sharp edges. Also, we'll be spraying them with anti-graffiti coating, so that's not really a problem in pictures, but if by chance one of them does get tagged, it will be.
And they'll all be just plain concrete color, as not painted or not stained or any kind of
Right.
coloration.
We've got an integral color.
Mhm.
I mean, that's an option, but, I mean, we've been talking, I've been talking to the whole team and the architects. We really kind of were thinking we like the neutral color palette to go with the building, and then with the colorful landscaping, complementing that.
The way the forms themselves stand out, beautifully.
Yeah, it'll be in with a lot of green grass, so I thought about making green leaves, but then everything was green.
Right, yeah, no, that's fair. Look like there's a gas meter at the very back. Does that need to be open and accessible, or could that be on the other side of the screen wall? That's obviously not a question for you, but just from an access into that space, I don't know what all is required necessarily, but.
We'll have to have space just to maintain it.
Mm.
But we've looked at putting it on the other side. The other side is really, it's got a lot of, multiple meters.
Sure, yeah. Yeah,
So
yeah.
it got a bit tight back.
Yeah.
That's where we prefer to have.
Yeah,
You show the concept plan. So is that meter you're talking, is not shown on here?
the GM and the line, the circle, and then the G,
Oh, okay.
that arrow. so that's the gas is coming into that location. But I guess not knowing what symbols represent, I wasn't sure if those are big evergreen trees or if those are shrubs, but wasn't sure if that would be problematic or not.
Those would mostly be shrubs
Okay.
around there. Two ornamental size on the south end, and the larger one in the middle there. And then the rest would be shrubs. And then we have some native perennial plantings along there as well. So flowers and that, bright color.
Is there any lighting proposed?
We talked about lighting. I think that might be on their end.
That's right.
Yeah.
Sure, okay. And then is there access to water from long-term plant maintenance, you know, whether it's permanent irrigation or at least the ability to? What's that?
We'll be building now.
For hose bibs, okay. Great.
So there are 5 leads, essentially, right? Well, 5 components, or when I look at your the drawing I have on the agenda, this one, this one here, the rendering or whatever. So it's like 5 components.
Rachel?
Yeah, there's 4.
4, okay, because this one has like,
I've been working with Antler Corporation, does a lot of work with concrete all over. And so they would help me to build a form, and so we put together the budget based on the form.
have you considered putting, they now have, an additive that you can put in concrete that makes it less porous, so it dries faster, I guess it helps prevent moisture from getting in. I'm just thinking long term. I didn't know if you had thought of that. There's a, you know, because that's the only thing I worry about. And then, like, are they meant to be kind of comfortable? You know what I mean? Like, are they kind of meant to kind of be sat on, or just sort of kind of lean on? You know what I mean? Like, because sometimes I'm like looking at this going, I don't know how comfortable it would be, or if you're actually going to kind of make it so that you could actually be comfortable in them and not actually like
Lay on or sit on?
sitting.
Right? Is it
Yeah,
typically-
yeah, is it to sit on, play? I don't know, like, I just,
So my goal is to, because there'll be more than one, to create sort of a combination, right? And they're gonna be different sizes. So the largest one will be the tulip. You can see, sort of on the far end where the person is sitting. And that one, is going to be 6 feet across. So we're talking fairly large. So that could be 2 people sitting on it, having a conversation over lunch, or one person like really lounging. There'll be, 1 foot high in the front, so pretty low to the ground. I don't want them too high up, because then they get super heavy, and then also I don't want, you know, kids are climbing on them. I want them fairly low to the ground. On the back, it'll be 2 feet high, so it'll have a change from the front to the back. So you can sort of lounge on it if you want. I'm going to be building models of these to, you know, sort of test the
Ergonomics.
dimensions, the ergonomics, how comfortable they are.
Yeah.
So I want a variety, and I'm obviously going to be designing the top two so water flows off of them. We don't have any water pooling in them. That'll help their longevity and just cleanliness and things. So, so it's going to be taking some trial and error with my modeling to get to figuring out exactly what we want the shapes to be, so that they are a combination of maybe one is one that you see people lounging in a lot, and other people just kind of sit on and have it all. Combination.
more like a bench style. One of them could be more like a bench. How will people know they can actually get on them?
Oh, they will.
Even when
Or not.
even if you don't want people to, they try.
You're gonna get on.
they're
Yeah, just put a
accessible.
sign that says PFAS,
Right.
then they're
Then
sure to
they're
go
for
on.
sure,
Right, right.
Right, like you said, they're a foot from the ground, right? So they're very accessible and inviting. So, I had a couple questions. Rachel, I'm assuming you probably already considered limestone instead of concrete, right? But concrete is what you recommend for this project.
Yes, I think, we wanted to keep the budget within our certain.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Thought.
Yeah.
Expensive
Okay.
quickly.
And I especially bring that up, not that I'm an expert in those materials at all, but one of the things that I really enjoy about this concept is it's very Indiana-ish. And I think that is charming, and this feels to me like a little green oasis in this area. And I really enjoy it. It's very inviting. It's very inviting. Are there any other questions for Rachel and her team? Any other?
I think one final statement, from a public art perspective, sorry.
Go ahead.
We can make sure that we have some good signage too that explains the history and making sure that it's inviting and people to sit on. Also explaining, why this leaf, why here, this kind of stuff. So staff can make sure that we do a good job, in partnership with Fishers Art Council.
Exactly what I was gonna say. I love a little educational component to everything.
I know, a little interpretation.
Right, yeah, we could look at how we could even put a little ID on the sculptures themselves maybe. I think also the sidewalk, it's gonna make it pretty clear that people can go in there, right? And, we'll build the sidewalk right up to where the sculptures sit, so they're accessible, but I think that'll also give people like you that they're invited to come into the space and sit on.
Before we get down to the nitty gritty, which is you're asking for a vote tonight, right, to move forward and this investment of $17,500. Question about just the dollars we have available.
Great question. So you currently have, after the Alderman Auto, grant that you guys did earlier this year, you currently are sitting at, $1,690,170, in the town hall building court funds, which again, as a reminder, those do revolve over, so we are at no risk of losing those.
Can you say that again, for us, but 169,000?
169, yep. So if you were to award the 17.5, you would still have 151,000 left, in the town hall building court funds, which you guys have currently earmarked for, projects along major corridors, along the Nickel Plate Trail, and then this matching grant.
And again, those funds just roll over to next year as whatever we have,
They roll
whatever
over
balance
until
we have left.
the balance is zero, yep.
And I will also make a note, this fits into our procedure of how we accept projects like this, and it fulfills all the requirements, all the check boxes that we have to be sure that a project like this fulfills the requirements we've already set up in our policy. So, are there any other questions?
Just two other minor,
Mr.
more detail ones, questions. Will they have a foundation that they have to sit on, or because they're heavy enough, they can just sit on the ground?
Yeah, our thought now is they'll just be sitting on the ground beside the sidewalk.
And what about kind of in between, like, is it gonna kind of have a gravel surround, or I'm just thinking of like, if it's grass that you're not mowing that, if it's, it's kind of a weed zone, so.
Right, we talked about having some of the area be like a crushed stone,
Sure,
something like that to, yeah. So the maintenance will be clear.
yeah. And then the wall, that's probably more a question for you guys, the screen wall is 6 feet, 8 feet, that's kind of at the east side, back side along here, I'm guessing, or?
It is roughly 8 feet.
Okay. Okay, I'm done now.
These are a good question,
Good.
Drew, that
Yeah.
right? Like,
All questions I would get if I was
Yeah.
sending the
Yeah.
same thing, so.
That's why Drew's here.
that's why Drew's here. And I'm like, this looks really pretty. You know?
It does.
So,
No,
good. All right, any other questions or comments? Okay, seeing that, I think we've resolved all of our questions. I would love to accept a motion to fund the Whistle Drive project for $17,500. Anyone like to make that motion?
I'll motion to approve.
Drew? And a second? Yes, a second?
Yeah, I mean,
Angie
yeah.
will make a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. And opposed, same sign? Okay, it approved. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. You're free to leave or you're free to stay?
Actually, can I interject
Yeah.
one thing? Great, real quick, can you go back like a few slides to,
Intro slide.
the Alderman project again? Yeah. I just want to make a note, and Cecilia, feel free to chime in, because this was years and years ago. Our very first public art project in the city of Fishers was from Nakota Woodskin. That was, we called it a mural, but it was really about as big as that screen in the pocket park that Rachel designed. And I feel like today we're coming full circle from, from Nakota's small piece in that charming pocket park to look at Nakota's work today, which actually that first piece featured horses as well. And look where she is and look where we are now with Rachel's help and our QAW's help in this very cool new oasis and sculptures now. So I'm just saying we've come a long way. And so thank you. This has been a fun ride. So thanks.
Thank you for all your hard work and everyone. Help support artists.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Well
guys.
done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. This is why I love this commission. Good stuff. Okay. Let's talk about giving away more money, shall we? The
So
grant
the
program.
next item on the agenda is the FACC 2024 grant program. Before we dive into that, last week when I was talking with Jocelyn, we were looking back at the grant that you guys awarded earlier this year, earlier this year in January. So just kind of a recap, you guys gave out 9 grants. That includes Emerging Pearls Foundation, Fishers Art Council, which is represented here today, Forgiving Sea Project, St. George Middle Eastern Festival, Michelle Feeney, which is an HSE schools teacher, 317 Dance Academy, Fishers Music Works, Resounding Joy, and Chantal Lewis. Several of those projects have already happened this year with great success. One of the things that you guys pointed out was to make sure that when these events are happening, that they're really tuned in to our PR team, so we can boost their message. What these groups are doing is great, but is there an opportunity that we can get more people there, have more excitement around these things? So Emerging Pearls Foundation, their event was in June earlier, sold out. I know Laura took my seat that night, being referred to as Hillary Ross the whole night. But out of that one specifically, I know Fishers Art Council found artists that then went on to participate in Harvest Fest, which was this past weekend. Another great event by Fishers Art Council. The Forgiving Sea Project, they partnered in May with the Arts Council over at the Hamilton County Community Foundation, multi-day events focused around mental health. St. George Middle Eastern Festival is coming up here in a couple weeks. Michelle Feeney, her project was teaching printing to our community. At the Harvest Fest, she had some bags that were pretty neat with some, what do you call those, like manhole covers that she found and screen printed on stuff. So those are just examples of just the ones that you awarded this year. So as we're looking towards next year, and the city councilors on the commission can attest to this, the budget for next year has not been approved yet. That being said, we do anticipate that the Art Commission continues to receive their $60,000 that has been earmarked from City Council. We did have a couple of these laid out, I think, in everyone's table. There has not been any changes presented by staff. we're looking at the fourth year of this program. You guys awarded 9 grants, which was a good number, so we kept that 7,500 as the max grant that you could apply for. We again have no match. This does show that you have now awarded 142,000 to 37 projects since its inception. And then we're looking at opening this up in October, from October 2nd to December 15th. That aligns with what we did last year, which I think was successful. This allows us to bring forward all of the grant applicants in at your January meeting, and then gets these dollars to these nonprofit and art organizations early in the year. We would again anticipate them to provide us a final report in January of 2025. And again, the biggest success part of this is really working with our PR team to really boost the message of what we do. So staff is happy to, if you guys have any suggestions, but what we're asking tonight is for you guys to approve this program, and then really as soon as we hear that we're locked in, we'll release this program to the community. So happy to answer any questions.
Thank you for all that.
Any questions, comments?
I
Laura?
add something that was actually going to be part of my report that kind of dovetails into this, but now I'm in a panic mode because I'm like, where's my second sheet of paper that I had all this written down on? Mostly, and I don't know if this is appropriate for me to bring it up at this time, but I do want to put it in food for thought. We have done a lot of projects this year as the Fishers Arts Council, and we are a small but mighty volunteer organization, and our board members are very active and are very involved, but really the backbone of our organization is Les Reinhardt. And this woman works tirelessly, and she makes $7,000 from us. She puts in, I want to tell you, sometimes well over 40 hours a week in all the things, the detail, the professionalism, everything is top-notch, top drawer. She is a tireless and such a great advocate for artists and things she's brought together, and she's made so many connections and these things happen. When we get to apply for grants, there's usually not a line item. It's for like events or supplies. It's not really for staff payment. And I would just like maybe that to be in consideration. She has worked so much to us, and what she has allowed the Fishers Arts Council to do for this community is really extraordinary. And the amount of lives that it's backed myself up a little bit. I've only been in this group for like 3 years, and I just am in shock and awe of, especially even through COVID, holy smokes, we kept going through COVID and we're doing all kinds of crazy stuff. And I'm like thinking, can't we just rest? And you know, I feel like this is something that really should be looked into. I would really love to be in a position to pay her somewhat more, because it's really a job. And she's very good at getting all the volunteers, you know, to play parts, but it's really a lot. And I really think I'd like to get her publicly recognized or monetarily recognized or both at some point. And I thought maybe you guys, I was just going to ask for your ideas on maybe ways to do this, but just to consider whether we need to go to the city and ask for this, should it come through grants? I would love some ideas coming from you guys to help me figure this out. So I know that's a little off topic, but kind of on topic. So that is my, please noodle on this suggestion of the evening.
Well, if I can jump in. So first of all, I agree with you 100%. Les is amazing. I talked
more.
I talked to her this past weekend, and she was bouncing like within 3 different events, right? Like, yes, And we also know, as we saw, I would say, also with your predecessor, Tom Rich, like, you are a volunteer organization and budgets are tight, but we appreciate what you do, and we need to be sure also that it's sustainable, right? We also know that this grant was conceived with the purpose, oh, it's right here, foster creative partnerships. And we value our partnership with Fishers Arts Council. I think for me, I like the structure of this program and that it goes to tangible projects, deliverables that the community can see and experience and value. So I don't know if moving forward, there's an opportunity to provide that consideration to the Fishers Arts Council, so then you have revenue that you can dedicate to do you know what I mean? Like, but I know for me, I'm very comfortable with kind of the project base of this particular program. Friends, any?
Well, yeah, I mean, I agree with Jocelyn. I mean, it's not, the purpose is to provide content and art and culture, and so I don't know, do you guys fundraise or do anything like that? I mean, I know that it's
Unbelievable, all the things we do.
And sponsorships.
It's exhausting.
sponsorships and things like that, you know.
And for an unpaid body of people, you know, it's a lot. I mean, it's a lot.
So the compensation she does receive comes as just a portion of funds raised?
Or
through-
how, and when we
through-
we wiggle stuff out of other things.
Okay.
We're just like, okay, so it's through some fundraising, so when we write fundraising, or, that some of it goes to administrative, and so we can, and Les is a stickler for following rules. Be thankful I'm not in charge. I like to willy-nilly a little too much, maybe. But, yeah, so we try to pigtail stuff out, but this is where we are. And, you know, I love suggestions on how I can, nobody likes to pay for the toilet paper.
Right.
You know, they want to pay for the shiny objects. They want, and so I'm trying to figure out how to pay for toilet paper. Not that less toilet paper. Like, that's not coming out well, but you kind of get what I mean.
Yeah.
And what do other, and I'm not familiar with other groups like, that are, like in Indianapolis, how do they do that? Nickel Plate Arts.
Nickel Plate Arts, and, other executive directors, a lot of things are funded by the city. And so the city, a lot of the money comes actually out of, like, the Indianapolis Arts Commission. That's city money that goes into that. And so, and Fishers just has never been like, oh, you are important, you're making a difference, you're actually fulfilling all the needs and touching as many lives as you can, and doing it in as many ways. You know, you give us projects, and, we're, juggling them all out. But I would like to see, and maybe this is a Fishers question.
Yeah, I would lean into that. I think the one thing that we have started, that you guys have kind of given your grace over, is the creative council management. That being said, that's a task that we've asked, more of Arts Council to do, and that is why you guys have compensated for that. But I think that's a good question maybe to tackle with Ashley and see if there's other mechanisms outside of this grant program. If you guys, aren't necessarily comfortable with like program management coming out of that, but I think we could probably put our heads together and find a way to.
Yeah, so I figured you guys are the gurus of our market, you would have some ideas for me, so.
Well, and I just want to point out, I want to be sure, like, we're talking about sustainability and valuing art experiences in our community and growing them, right? So that requires investment, but I do want to make sure that I say the valuing of art deliverables and creative content is just as important as arts management and art sustainability, or what would you say, when we create sculptures and not sustainability, like
Permanent?
upkeep, no, like upkeep, maintenance.
Maintenance.
Maintenance is
Sorry.
what I mean, like, that is valued as well. So I think we need to look at this creatively and try to figure out as we launch into this kind of new space. Fishers Arts Council has proven their value to the community, and we want to keep that up.
Yeah, because my report is pretty impressive when I get to my turn.
Yay.
Look at what we've done. But it's, to me, it's kind of mind-blowing when you look at what we're dealing with, and I just think it's really undercompensated, and I've got to find money.
Well, I am glad you brought that up, Laura. I think, moving forward for today, let's look at our grant kind of status quo, the way it's always been structured in the past, knowing that we have got to crack open a conversation about that, and maybe that is through Ashley, maybe it's with some representatives from the
Yeah.
commission as well. I don't want to dismiss this. I want to, and I'm sure everyone
Yeah,
agrees.
I would agree, and I think you sort of hit on it, maybe unofficially, but like building the case a little bit more of, Indianapolis is doing it in these ways, or like, not to kind of try to keep up with the Joneses per se, but just to sort of,
Understanding
because
that
people
this
probably
is a
don't even
reality.
realize that, whether Noblesville or anywhere else.
And looking at those other
Yeah.
funding
We-
models.
Right,
Yeah, because we're not really benefiting a business, we're benefiting Fishers.
right,
Exactly.
yep.
Exactly.
And there's like a finite, bandwidth for staff as well.
Okay.
So there's an opportunity that someone is already doing it.
Yeah.
I'd love to make that case.
Yeah. That in the picture, yeah.
And I gotta
Great point.
too, that we play with parks in the city and develop,
Yeah.
we play with all you guys, and that's one of our jobs is to try to make your guide, to, add value to you. So we're, again, adding value to different departments in different ways, so.
I might just be in a nostalgic mood today, but I'm again struck by how far Fishers Arts
Oh,
Council
my God.
has come. It's amazing.
I've never been so terrified to take over a job on my own.
And you get sponsors from businesses, like, there's so many
Yeah.
business owners that are patrons of the arts that
Yeah,
they,
Jiffy Lube does, we've got
they,
Jiffy Lube and Starbank and Mashcraft, and, that they're sponsors, but they want to sponsor like scholarships to put their name on.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And every, businesses like to put their names on things, and, to tie themselves to things. And it's the non,
The less shiny object.
Tangible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What you're talking about is operational.
Yeah.
and
Not.
it's like a parking garage.
Yeah.
Not that fun to find.
Well, I think with your guys' direction,
Good point.
staff can, work on that, and we'll have a report back to you for November.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is
but
that right?
If you would, yeah, because even if you're like in the ear of Scott or Ashley, just, if you're supporting our cause and our theme and our thoughts, that would be helpful. Because, I don't think they recognize as much as you recognize how amazing,
yeah.
I would really like to fix Fluidge. We're good. I've got a lot of good people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Laura. Thank you for bringing that up. That's a very important conversation. So, are we feeling, that we're in a position to vote on this, move this forward? And if we are in agreement to move this forward, this could mean applications open as soon as October 2nd. Any further discussion?
it has nothing really to do with the grant, well, the approval of the grant, but, I just, kind of just food for thought again for people that are looking after we approve this, to say, hey, what is something that we could do in Fishers? But Westfield just announced they're doing a, multicultural festival. And it's their third year, September 16th, and with music, food,
Did you start that, Angie?
Oh, you did? It did? So I don't know. I know we've talked about it a long time ago, and we've never had the discussions again, but, I would encourage, I'm just saying it out loud, I guess, that, you know, that groups look at doing something like this. You know, we've been talking about inclusivity and awareness of diversity of our community. I'm hoping that someone will jump on board with this grant program to do something that would highlight the diversity of our community through food, music, art, et cetera, so anyway, we've talked about it, and I just, you know, kind of want to put it out there, and would love to see something come out of that with this grant coming forward, and so I just wanted to make those comments.
Very well received. Community loves it.
My hometown just had their ethnic festival this past weekend, and I'm like, yes, I'm with you. Like, it's perfect for our community as well. So,
Wait.
okay, just encouraging that. Any further discussion? If not, I'll take a motion to approve this would be considered the 2024 round of Fishers Arts and Culture Commission grant program. I'll accept a motion. Anyone?
I'll make a motion.
Angie's making the motion, and second?
Yep.
Drew, second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. And opposed, same sign? Okay, motion passes. We are ready for, this is what? Our
Fourth year.
fourth round.
Yep.
This is great. All right, thank you very
guys.
much. Good.
Over to you, Laura.
All right, I'll start with the Creative Council. On August 14th, we had our Dusty Boots tour, which was super exciting, and it was a little terrifying, because we really thought, construction projects don't get done on time. This one's moving. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh. So it was a real great time to have a conversation. So, on August 21st, we met with, Marissa in Parks, and Ross was there, the Indianapolis Arts Center. We met at my house for lunch, and we were like trying to flesh out ideas on how we're going to do the big opening for the City Center, Arts Center. I'm not even sure what we're really calling it specifically. I think we need to stick to a name, because
I know, we
the
need to name
district
that.
is really problematic.
I'll see when the sign goes up.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So it was kind of determined by all of us, all the brains that were there, that we were gonna do like a 3-phase kind of opening, so that the city would be in charge of their ribbon cutting, whenever that was appropriate. And then the Indianapolis Arts Center is going to be in charge of their events, which is gonna be probably a nighttime fancy donor event. And so they're gonna do that. And then the Fishers Arts Council is gonna work with Parks, and we are going to do a public art center, city center, the Fishers Art Gallery opening, and that's also in conjunction with the Creative Council. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use all the resources we have in Fishers, is what we're thinking, for performances, demonstrations, vendors, make it and take it, all in coordination with as many groups as we can get to participate. And we're planning this to be the finale of the Spark of Fishers. So it will be on Saturday, July 29th, from 3 to 10, and there'll be fireworks at the end.
June.
June.
29th.
Yep.
Shit. Out of those dates. Pardon me. I really got to write this down right. Anyway, but it was pretty exciting, and everybody, we're playing really well together. We're having lots of good conversations and good ideas. And so next month at our October 9th Creative Council meeting, we're going to be helping everyone focus on their 2024 calendars and help cheer each other on, because we've all decided as arts groups that is one of our big things we need to do, is be aware of what's going on and help each other push things around, because we're playing with the arts people, and arts people like art stuff. So we're going to lean into that. I love that term. And then, and how exactly all these groups can participate in the grand opening.
I love it.
So that's really exciting, and I have more to report when my next report comes up.
One part that I'd like to add to that is that we will be inviting Indianapolis Arts Center to come speak to you guys at your November meeting.
Good. That's good.
So Mark, I'm blanking on his last name. Williams, him, and or part of his team will be here to kind of talk about what their thoughts are. The Creative Council kind of got really high level of their thoughts, but one thing that was really neat was to have someone, we have this breezeway in the middle, it's gonna have some front-facing people, but really to have someone there that lives and breathes arts and culture in our community, so they can come up and talk to like a liaison. So that's the kind of stuff that I'd love for Mark and his team to kind of debrief with you guys, and they're open to additional feedback. So we'll see that at your next meeting.
Great. So. Ross, are they also going to talk about programming? I've been getting a lot of questions about the
What
programming.
kind of programming they're going to provide on their side. Yeah, Mark can, we can make sure that he's ready to talk about what their plans are and what parts that they're bringing from their current campus, what's going to be unique to our campus, so forth. So, yep, I'm excited for that.
Good, that sounds good.
Okay.
I guess that wraps up Creative Council now, right? Community comment?
Yep, so Nickel Plate Arts is not here. That is because they are hard at work getting prepared for the 11th annual anniversary gala, which is tomorrow, Wednesday, September 13th, at Conner Prairie. So excited for that event to happen.
Can I interject?
Yeah.
I have an extra pair of tickets for this event, and I know this is really last minute, but if anyone's interested in going to the gala, I've got 2 extra tickets for tomorrow night, just down the road at Conner Prairie.
I was getting ready to ask if she was sold out.
Yep. So that'll be a good event. Anyway, if anyone could use them, please see me after.
And then Fishers Art Council.
Back again. I love to talk, so this is so good for me. So what just to share with you, Fishers Arts Council has, as a board, is also focused on the importance of team building and art education for our board and anybody who wants to hang out with us. So on August 26th, we had our first board and donor enrichment program, and we went to the Idlesworth Museum, which was lovely. We got a tour, and Katie graciously let us in for free, and that was really nice. And on October 24th at 5:30, we are touring the Mark Adams Woodworking School. So if anybody has a hankering to join us in Franklin, Indiana, carpooling, it's going to be fun. But we feel it's really important to, kind of pay attention to what's going on in the greater community and also educate ourselves on either different art forms or anything art related. So we're talking about doing the Miller House in Columbus in the spring. So we're very fun. So when we're also did a really good job of recruiting board members this weekend at Harvest Fest. Because our small but mighty team, I'll go back a second, on Friday we had the Juried Art Show. And that is now currently hanging at the Hamilton County Community Foundation. We had a really robust evening. It was very fun. Laura McCormick Fishers got Best Abstract. Leslie Ober Noblesville got Best Portrait. Frances Ruiz Fishers got Best Floral. Sabrina Zahu from Carmel got Best Landscape. And Mark Rouse from Fishers got Best in Show. That was super fun. Next year, we are thinking about opening it up to more central Indiana to broaden our reach, broaden our reputation, and continue to make Fishers relevant and engaging. So there we have that. And last Sunday, we had our 4th annual Harvest Fest. This is an event which I think we're really smart to do this, is we're highlighting the other non-for-profits in Fishers as well as having our local artist fair. So it was really great because the food trucks, even part of their proceeds also went to one of the non-for-profits. And then also the non-for-profits there could do fundraising in any way they saw fit, which really cracked me up because the Girl Guide Library was doing tarot card readings with women in history. It was hilarious. And it was really interesting. I felt like I got very insightful into my school here. But I was really impressed. It was a glorious day. We were guessing we had about 1,700 people come through. People were parked all over Creation. But it was super well organized. Thank you, Les. We had very happy artists, very happy food vendors, and happy patrons. So it was a happy day in Fishers. We love happy days in Fishers. And coming up in October, it's already listed for you, October, November, December. is our second Friday event. And we are in conversations with Sun King about doing a small holiday art event in the yard, but that's still in the chat form. And that is all I have to talk about.
Good stuff, Laura. Thank you.
If I'm talking fast.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that it for community
That's it
comment
for
then?
community comment.
Okay, all right. Well, are there any other announcements?
You want to say anything from your organization, or?
I'm just happy to be here.
Yeah, do you want to introduce yourself
Yes,
to everyone?
please.
Hello, Ian Hauer, I'm the Executive Director of the Hyperion Players. We're a very, very young performing arts organization. We're opening our second season, in fact, right here at Fishers with Waiting for Godot on September 28th. I have little cards here just in case, yeah, is there anything else you'd like me to say?
No, that was helpful, just so.
That's
people
great.
are aware.
Welcome. Welcome.
Do you like it?
What was that?
Do you have a favorite coffee drink?
Favorite coffee drink?
Yeah.
Coffee drink is tea.
Oh, okay, okay. Very good. I'll make a quick announcement, and I like to share this every other year. Back to Columbus, Indiana, which was just mentioned. Columbus, Indiana has this amazing exhibit. It's called Exhibit Columbus. Every 2 years, they have designers from all over the world who come and do public art exhibits. They're temporary. They just were installed, I think, a couple weeks ago. The exhibit goes through the end of November. And if you want to be inspired by public art and see what public art can do, please visit Columbus, Indiana in the next 2 months. It is totally free, and it is just you roam around, but each installation has an interactive component and also woven into the environment that it is. They're all within their downtown district, all very walkable, but I know my team, we're taking a field trip there on Monday, and we can't wait. But it's really an amazing experience.
Their cultural event is where we went to visit to plan ours for Westville.
Oh, really? That's great. Yeah. Yes. Columbus is a fellow Indiana Arts District. And I realized as I visit different arts districts across the state, how inspiring, each one's different. It's really inspiring. So I just wanted to give that shout out to Columbus, Indiana, as we focus our efforts on public art. They show what they can do and show the best of the best. So it's pretty fun. All right. Any other announcements? No? Okay. Well, with that, if there's no other further business, Ross, we'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Billy said yes. Any second? Drew said second. We are adjourned. Thanks, everybody. Thank you.
Yep. What are you going to?
How's everything going?
Good, how are you?
Nobody's taking it as a surprise.
All right.
Well, the fact that it's made for you is, yeah.
Good enough, right?
You've got a marathon, or a, 5K